All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that will never, ever, ever see the light of day in the mainstream liberal media out of Ohio that involves a group of elementary school students, black and white, in which allegedly the black students beat up the white students while forcing them to say Black Lives Matter, and parents are outraged over this. Take a look.
Natalie, thanks. Several students and parents at a Springfield elementary school upset tonight. That's after police say a number of black students forced several white students to state Black Lives Matter against their will. Gwyneth Falloon is following this story for us tonight and joins us live now. And Gwen, what have you learned?
Megan, the Springfield police report says the incident took place here at Kenwood Elementary last Friday at recess. Allegedly, a group of black students forced several white students to say Black Lives Matter. And if they didn't comply or tried to avoid the situation, they were chased down. Some even reported being dragged, pushed to the ground, or even punched in the face. On Monday, Springfield police were called to Kenwood Elementary about an incident that took place the previous Friday at recess.
Just because it's reversed is still not all right.
A police incident report states a group of black students forced a number of white students to say Black Lives Matter against their will. Those who refused or attempted to avoid the situation were chased down. The report says one student was punched in the head.
He was thrown to the ground.
He was actually one of the ones thrown to the ground. And
Crystal and Daniel Haar have an 11-year-old son in 6th grade at Kenwood. They say their son did not tell them about the event. However, the school contacted them 3 days later.
I don't understand how it got as far as it did, because the teachers should have been paying closer attention.
Springfield police are currently investigating the incident. However, the Haars say their son is scared to go to school.
He's not excited to go to school at all. He's terrified.
The school has provided a statement saying they are aware of the incident and are, quote, committed to providing our students with a safe learning environment where they look forward to attending every day. No further information was provided, but the parents say more needs to be done and those in question should be held accountable for their actions.
I really feel like they should at least be expelled.
Now, statements have been taken, and the police report says suspects could face charges of menacing and assault. There is also surveillance video of the incident. However, this is an ongoing investigation, so that has not been released. As the story continues to develop, we'll be sure to bring you the latest information as it becomes available. Back to you.
Yeah, so allegedly, police are involved with this incident, and it happened on a playground at like 10:20 in the morning, okay? And apparently it also was recorded. Okay, they got it on surveillance. This happened, so people can't come out and say that, oh, this is made up, it's a hoax or whatever, because it certainly did happen. They got police involved, and also it was recorded. Okay, they got it on tape. Apparently, again, a group of black students gathered several white students on the playground and forced them to say Black Lives Matter against their will. The suspects also allegedly recorded themselves doing it as well, which again is pretty interesting considering how they're kids, but apparently this is what happened. The principal told the police that the students who tried to avoid, being forced to say Black Lives Matter were chased down, dragged, and carried to a particular spot on the playground with one student getting punched in the head by one of the suspects. Yeah, so that is what happened. It's a damn shame that we live in a country where we have this type of racial violence going on in schools, right? And when it does happen, it's even more of a shame that the mainstream liberal media won't cover it, because we all know if it was the other way around, if a group of white students had assaulted a group of black students, making them say, I don't know, White Lives Matter or whatever, we all know it would be front page news, right? Everybody would hear about it, okay? But because it's not, this is just going to be a local news story and that's it. But this story in and of itself really is a symptom of a much bigger problem that we have in this country, which is the racial division that is being pushed in this country from the mainstream liberal media. What do you think these kids got this from? Okay, what do you think they got this type of activism from? Okay, where they want to force white people to say, Black Lives Matter, right? They got it from the mainstream liberal media. Okay, they got it from what they see on social media. That's exactly where they got it from. And this is what they want, right? This is the type of stuff they want. They want kids, black kids, feeling animosity towards white kids and doing stuff like this, right? This is reparations, right? This is what they believe. And it's really a shame because when you come out and you say, hey, you know, I support people like Ron DeSantis who don't want to push this type of divisive nonsense in school, you know, you're called a racist, like a white supremacist, right? You might have people like Al Sharpton coming out and trying to protest against you, again, because apparently not pushing racial division, not pushing hatred of whites, again, is racist.
Woke died. Well, only sleepy folk thinks the process stops with woke. Right. When you wake up, you get up. Come on. And you go to work. We ain't laying in the bed woke, we up. And we went from woke to work. And we gonna work on you, DeSantis, until we tell the whole story. There's some room.
Well, the rallying cry came from faith leaders, student leaders, a lot of students, hundreds of students, and many civil rights groups really standing up saying that they're not going to let this governor tamper with history. They're really talking about censorship here. And even though they're saying, oh, no, we're doing black history, but they're being very selective, and they're really trying to tamp down parts of the story that points out the contradictions in American history and what we had to overcome. And it's not in a negative, it's to show the strength of people. You can't talk about American history without talking about what blacks and women and the LGBTQ people went through. And DeSantis wants to pivot his campaign for president. I call him Baby Trump. He wants to be Baby Trump and do it in a different way to pit us one against another, and Americans against another type of American. And we are not going to allow that to happen. Just like we had to fight educational segregation with a governor standing in the door, we will not have another governor standing in the way of history.
Yeah, so if you can't teach racial hate and division, right, or LGBTQ studies for black folks, then, you know, apparently you are pushing racial hate and division. But again, people like Al Sharpton, who claim to be against, you know, racism and racial violence, are silent on these types of stories that, you know, I routinely talk about, where you do have violence from, you know, black folks that is being imposed on white people, and it seems to be racial, okay? I actually want to play a clip of a story from a couple years ago in which you had a white guy, or somebody that appears to be white, he's not black, get beat up by a bunch of black dudes in the name of Black Lives Matter because the white guy wouldn't allow him to skip the line. Take a look.
Yeah, Christine and Chris, the victim, Mason, says he was coming to the convenience store just to get a couple of groceries. He was at the front of the line when he says a group of guys tried to cut in line. He told them there's a line for a reason. Then they left and they waited for him outside, and the surveillance camera there caught what happened next.
It's just that sinking feeling to where it's just, well, there's nothing I can do now.
The video clearly shows 4 guys walking up to Mason and attacking. He never lets go of his groceries as they take turns kicking and punching him on the ground, including in the face. The last to leave leans down to talk to him, then gives him one last punch.
I was sitting there on the ground just kind of in shock. Didn't really know what to think.
Mason didn't realize that it wasn't over. There was a 5th guy.
He comes up to me, kicks me in the face, and screams, "Black Lives Matter."
He came home, his face was all bloody, and he was holding his bags. I just remember feeling instant panic. I was irate, I was confused, I was concerned for him, and I wanted answers.
Mason and his girlfriend Kelly hope someone recognizes his attackers.
To me, it's kind of a shame that they were so just open with it. They were just okay with it at the end of it. I mean, no rush to get out. They went back into the store to buy more things.
So he says they went back into the store to buy more things, and then they left, and then police arrived a little later afterwards, and after they left. He says he does not believe that this attack was racially motivated. And of course, police say if you recognize anybody in that video, please call them immediately.
Yeah, so that happened a couple years ago during the peak of the George Floyd racial protest. Okay. Again, that is what that movement has resulted in. It has resulted in individuals, right, so-called people of color, becoming radicalized against whites, because apparently it's supposed to be everybody against whites. That's the race war that a lot of these people want. Okay, they want everybody that's not white to come together and to fight against white supremacy. Okay, to fight against the white man. And what you see is that that's not just something that affects adults, where adults get radicalized. You also have children becoming radicalized. And this is why it's so important that we get rid of racial indoctrination in school, that we rid our schools, our public education system of racial indoctrination, because this is the result of that. This is the result. Again, this is wrong. This is terrible. And this is something that must be addressed in this country, because, again, this is going to really drive us into a dark place racially if incidents like this keep happening. It's all over social media. People are seeing it, that there's racial violence being committed in this country. And, again, it's not in a direction that the mainstream liberal media is trying to act like it is. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.